Let's shift gears now. Let's come back home because we had an awesome hurricane special last night at 8 o'clock. Hurricane IQ, or WCNC Weather Impact special. Jeb, you were a part of that special. Do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, huge shout out to Spencer Collins, the executive producer behind the special, Brad, Brittany, Becca, Chris. Majestic. I mean, it was a really well done piece. If you haven't seen it yet, it's streaming on demand right here on WCNC Plus. Everything you could possibly need or want to know about hurricane preparation. Obviously, we're coming up on a year since Helene. Extremely important, relevant information. But that's not the only place you can get great hurricane preparation advice.
Right. I mean, look, and we had Brittany on and Becca on and Brad came on yesterday evening right before the special to break it down. But yeah, really suggest you check that out. Look, Atlantic hurricane season is here. This week was the beginning of hurricane season. And so, again, preparedness, this is what we do. We want to make sure that you are prepared. There are a lot of folks that are longtime North Carolinians, South Carolinians, may have forgot on how to prepare. There's a lot of people that move into the area and don't know how to prepare. So, I mean, this is what we want to do. So we want to bring in WCNC Charlotte's Myles Harris, who is here in studio. Myles, we're talking hurricane preps, man. You were at Duke Energy.
What's going on, Twin? I'm good, man. I'm good.
What's up, Twin?
What's going on, Twin? We matching today, so I got to go ahead and say that, man. What's going on, Twin? But yeah, no, it was cool, man. Get a chance to kind of see Duke Energy. We know how much of an important impact that they make when it comes to dealing with whether it's a hurricane or really any type of severe weather. Just having an inside look at really how they keep the lights on for millions of their customers, it was crazy. And so we got a chance to kind of tour their distribution center and seeing kind of how that thing works, their staff and how they kind of culminate in that and put that whole thing together. And it's crazy because it's like it's a obviously a pretty big building, and it's a pretty big room, the distribution center. And these monitors, I mean, Nick, they're literally the size of the TV behind you. I mean, they're massive, and they have like 2 or 3 of them. But I mean, they are working around the clock, and they're really putting a whole lot of work together and trying to, like I said, keep the lights on for these people, for these customers. And it's crazy to kind of learn some of the technology that they're really relying on, even whether it was before Hurricane Helene or severe weather, or even afterwards, and what they learned from that. Really, really cool. And it's kind of like if you work in news for a little bit, or you work in television, you have a new, different vision for that. Same thing with these power outages and kind of going through this experience today. And so that's kind of what we worked on today. Some of the things that we talked about, though, too, is they mentioned, for example, they have what's called like a self-healing technology, which is crazy, right?
Okay.
And so we're like, what does this mean?
I'm
like,
interested.
Yeah. So with the self-healing technology, and I want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly, though, too, is it's like basically it's advanced with their capabilities, and what it does is it allows them to automatically detect a power outage and actually reroute power to other lines in order to kind of help them restoring power in a faster way. I mean, this thing, hearing the numbers that they're putting together and how quick this thing works, it's like saving them minutes. I mean, they're restoring power in a minute, and it's making a game-changing play for them in so many ways. And so that, and like one of the biggest things that I was asking, though, too, is, okay, like, you know, you guys made it through Helene. That's a big hurdle. What did you learn from it, though? And so they rely so much on technology, right? And so, like I said, when you see this room, you put it together, okay, when we see the bucket crews out, restoring power, working on the power lines, the people that call them are the people that are in front of these big old monitors and in front making the calls, typing up the
and
stuff.
They're looking at streets and different, looking
at streets, they're looking at cameras, looking at radars, looking at all this stuff. And so I was like, hey, what's the one thing that you guys learned from Helene? Well, they have to look at other ways to route and try to get technology in the areas that are hit the hardest. So you can't use power, for example. They have to rely on other technology, like biggest thing, satellites. They have to use satellites to try to connect with these areas like we covered so much of that didn't have, you know, Wi-Fi or any type of service, data, anything. Looking at those kind of avenues to help kind of reach out to these people and restore the power. And so, like I said, a really, really cool aspect to kind of walk through, navigate, see, and really interested to kind of see what happens if severe weather hits again. I mean, it's interesting on days like today when we're dealing with the rain that we're dealing with, but like you can see it just like, hey, they're working with these monitors, they're seeing crews, they're sending crews, they're answering phone calls, doing all that other stuff. And so really, really cool to kind of see how that whole thing is getting put together, man.
What impresses me about Duke Energy, I want to lump in NCDOT, is that they have been able to turn a tragedy like Helene into innovation, right? This is only furthers what they can do to help folks for, I don't even want to say the next Helene, but like the next storm that may not even be as serious. But
Right.
they're able to help folks get their power back.
And it
faster.
doesn't have to be something as big as Helene, right?
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
it goes exactly to your point though too. I mean, like there's been chances that we've seen like, well, it's raining, but then there's power out in one area.
Yeah.
You're like, how does that happen if Helene kept power on for this or something more severe?
Right.
You just never know. And so I think from their perspective, it's a good experience to know, okay, if we can make it through this, then we can navigate through just about anything. And so being able to do that, finding those avenues, finding those ways and pieces of technology advancements to help, again, I hate the way it sounds because it sounds so cliche, but they're keeping the power on for these people, and they're finding ways in doing that. And I think, even hearing from, we listened to one of the operators, and I'm like, what's the best part of your job? And it's like knowing that I'm keeping the power on for people. Like,
Nice.
That's a real cool, like, feeling, I bet, too. Especially, they were there during Helene. They were like, I was there overnight, and like, doing it for weeks.
And I was, about
yeah.
to say, like, look, you have an interesting perspective because you were there for, like, you were in downtown. What,
I was in downtown Boone. I was literally right across the street from Appalachian State. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Look, we were like afraid for, like, at least I could say for myself, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, Myles, as long as I see Myles on TV, I know he's okay.
Jeff saw us in action there too. Yeah, Jeff saw us in action, and like, yeah, and it's crazy because when you're in the moment there, you're obviously seeing the water, and then you realize, okay, trees are coming down, power is going out. Like, that experience is one I can just say I'll never forget.
Yeah.
But when you look at the efforts of trying to restore any type of normalcy, whether it is power, whether it is housing, whether it's food, whatever the case is, this adds that element of perspective for me with this going through this tour.
Oh,
That's
man.
simply, man. So
When can folks catch your story tonight?
4, and I think we're gonna get around 5 o'clock today as well. But you can also catch us on the app too.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, we're on
okay.
everything, man. So
I
yeah.
appreciate you, twin.
Come on now. Listen, we'll just keep it at that. We told
Okay.
you because of the shirt. We'll just keep it because of the 20 with the shirt. So
But Myles Harris here in the Live Impact Studio. Thank you for your time, as always.
appreciate you guys always, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man. Look, it's hurricane season. You have to be prepared. We want to give you the behind the scenes, the tips, and everything you should know. So it's very important. That's why it's important to keep it here on WCNC Plus Live Impact News. You get these reports, different type of live hits from reporters, right? This is not we have the typical I tossed a reporter out there on the scene, but you also get reporters and their perspective on the stories that they're covering. And Myles was out there during Hurricane Helene, so he has a unique perspective when it comes to that.